We're teaming up with Tampa Bay Parenting Magazine to help keep your family safe. It's important to get kids active early, but it can also leave them at risk for injury.
Yeah, my own son has suffered sports-related knee and shoulder injuries, so I talked with his doctor and another family to find out the most common sports injuries and simple ways you can avoid them.
Here's 1, 2, 3.
1 and 2.
So more here?
Yeah.
Irie Knight is one of 38 million children and adolescents who participate in organized sports in the U.S. each year. Unfortunately, she's also one of millions who end up here, a doctor's office or emergency room.
So you see that, Mom, when I push on her leg this way, see how it moves a little bit?
Dr. Seth Gasser with Florida Orthopedic Institute has been treating sports-related injuries for more than 20 years.
Kids are susceptible to things that adults don't get, particularly because they have a growing skeleton and their anatomy is different than the adult.
Every sport, he says, has its own potential for injuries. One problem he sees, especially in Florida, kids tend to focus on one sport and play it year-round.
So you tend to get more overuse injuries because they're doing the same repetitive activity all year round and not changing it up with a different sport.
Make sure kids wear protective gear, know how to use the equipment, warm up before playing, and drink plenty of water. And Dr. Gasser says parents should listen to their kids when they say they're hurt.
Kids shouldn't play with pain. So pain is a pretty good indicator that something's wrong because a lot of injuries probably could be prevented with some early intervention. So playing with pain is not a great idea.
Finally, don't push your kids too hard.
A lot of times I think the parents are reliving their youth through their kids. And so you really got to be careful that you're not pushing them more than they really want to participate. And I think we have to remember that, you know, kids need time to be kids as well.
For Irie, her collision on the volleyball court resulted in just a sprained knee. It won't sideline her for long, but she and her mom both know injuries can be part of any game.
There's always a possibility, but she's been very lucky up until this point, but with any sport, you know, there's always a chance.
That was Dan Schaefer reporting. Some good advice there, but we want to give you some more practical tips. Angela Ardolino, the publisher of Tampa Bay Parenting Magazine, is here now to give you some more advice. Now, the doctor mentioned that it's important to make sure that the kids have the proper safety gear. You also say that's key to keeping them safe, right?
Absolutely, and them understanding why they're wearing the safety gear, that it's important for them to put it on because they're protecting themselves instead of just putting it on them and telling them, you need to wear this when you go play this game. For them to understand that they're protecting themselves means so much. And you want to make sure that the equipment fits correctly and that it's put on correctly. You can't hand over a helmet to the younger sibling because it was the older sibling. It really needs to...
No hand-me-downs in this
exactly,
case.
no. The only way to protect them is that it's fitting them correctly.
Okay, and another thing that parents may not think about, you say make sure where they're playing is safe. That's key
Absolutely.
as well.
We need to always remember as parents, nobody's going to look out for our children more than we are. So inspect it. If it's a baseball field, a football field, take a walk around it. Make sure there aren't any holes, that the bases aren't loose. If they're doing something like gymnastics or dance or basketball or volleyball, make sure it's a correct surface. They don't want to be playing on concrete. That's really hard on kids' joints and bones.
Another one that a lot of people may not think about, it seems like a no-brainer, adult supervision. We sometimes send the kids out to play, but it's important to make sure that they're safe.
Absolutely. Not only look out for your child's well-being, but the other children, and make sure that the coach is looking out for your child's best interest, that they're trained in first aid and CPR, that they have a good team spirit about them, that it's not play no matter what, we have to win. It's about, you know, enjoying the game and having a good time.
And you also say it's important to make sure that they're properly prepared to play.
Absolutely. You wouldn't put a kid in a swimming pool that didn't know how to swim. Don't throw them out there on the volleyball court or the baseball field without them knowing nothing about the game and not having the proper training.
Great advice.
Thank you.
We got to do our part to keep our kids safe.
That's right.
Thanks, Angela.
Thanks.
And if you missed any of the points or you want to share them with a parent that you may know, just go to abcactionnews.com. You can also find help with a variety of parenting issues on the Tampa Bay Parenting website. That's tvparenting.com. And you're going to come back next week because we're going to talk about kids and the arts. We'll tell you the best ways to expose your kids to culture, including some that are free.